Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. Today we'll be doing a double review just to save on time. So I'll be reviewing the BUZZmod 2B from Nier Automata 1.1a, so the anime version of 2B, as well as the S.H.Figuarts 2B from the same anime. Now these are very similar figures based on the exact same design, and they were released at similar times, so I think it bears comparison. I really like Nier Automata, the game, and I really like the Nier franchise in general. Played the original on PS3, and then Replicant's like sort of remaster remake weird thing. Played Automata on release, even played the phone game for a while. Played Drakengard 3, I didn't play 1 and 2 even though I want to, and I just like the weird and wacky mind of Yoko Taro. Just absolutely adore the franchise. I haven't watched the anime, and I know that it's not finished yet, and I think that's part of why I didn't watch the anime. But I didn't really like the design that much, just because they had changed the character design slightly, but enough that I didn't really like the anime aesthetic versus the game aesthetic. But regardless, I got these figures because I heard they were good, and we'll see. So this is my first time looking at a BUZZmod figure, so this is Aniplex's line of posable figures. Typically they have soft goods with like wire in them, and that's sort of like their main selling point, that they have like pretty good posability and soft goods. And they have pretty high price points as well, because Aniplex can basically charge whatever they want because they've got pretty strong IP. But this is my first time looking at a BUZZmod, so we'll see if it's any good. And for S.H.Figuarts, they're pretty good figures generally, and whenever they tackle new IPs, they've been pretty good for the most part. But I think it's hard to tackle a design like this and make it work in a posable figure. This goes for the BUZZmod as well, that her design is very hard to make working with a posable figure, to have really good range of motion while keeping the aesthetic, as well as being able to pose it with or without a base. Now, the S.H.Figuarts has a compromise for that, but the BUZZmod does not, so we will be getting into that. So taken out of the box, the BUZZmod comes with 2 weapons, 4 faces, the pod, a bunch of different hands, and alternate legs. Now this is for deep bends. It's similar to the S.H.Figuarts Berserker Armor Guts, where he had swappable legs for deep bends, although that figure could achieve really deep bends without that accessory, so it felt a little bit superfluous. This 2B does have actual issues with bending that far deep. The S.H.Figuarts 2B, on the other hand, comes with 1 sword, the pod, as well as 5 faces, and a base, because Tamashii knows that this figure cannot stand up on its own, at least not easily. But thankfully, they made a choice similar to Figma, where there's a plug in the back of the figure where you can just plug it in. After playing with this figure, it kind of makes me want S.H.Figuarts to start adopting this for like all their figures, because it'd be nice to just plug it in instead of clip it around a character's waist or something, and somewhat ruin the aesthetic. Anyway, out of the box, here is the BUZZmod 2B, and she looks pretty good, especially with the soft goods. So from her chest down, the entire skirt is a soft goods dress with a bendy wire through it, and I was worried that it would break the look between plastic and soft goods, but I think it pulled it off pretty well, and the sort of matte finish on the rest of the dress sort of matches it quite well. It is noticeable that it is plastic to soft goods, but from a distance I think they matched it very, very, very well. Overall, the sculpt does read as the anime version of 2B, where I think her legs are a bit smaller, her head is very, very round, almost like a sort of like coconut. And yeah, I think it captures the look fairly well. Again, not a super huge fan of the anime aesthetic, but I can't say that they didn't nail the design here. As for the S.H.Figuarts, very similar thing here. I think her legs are even thinner on this one, and her head is even rounder. It is pretty much a circle, but again, it does match that aesthetic fairly well. I do have her propped up on a base because I cannot get her to stand on her own, and that shows one major problem with the S.H.Figuarts, but at least they knew and provided the solution with it. But again, it does read as the character fairly well. The plastic dress works, it is a soft plastic, and looks really nice. All of the detail work and design and patterning on the figure look really good. There are some slight paint inconsistencies on the Aniplex BUZZmod, but the S.H.Figuarts, due to the lack of paint and reliance on separate plastic parts for a lot of it, make the aesthetic look even better. The figures side by side do stand a little bit different. Granted, I do have my SHF on a base, but she does regularly stand just a little bit taller than the BUZZmod one anyway. But you can see that they look similar enough together. And here they are stacked up against a Jada Toys Ryu, so you can see how they sort of stand against other 112-ish action figure scale figures, and they match relatively well. For posability for the BUZZmod, there is a ball joint at the head and a bit in the neck, which allows for a good range of motion looking down, side to side, so on and so forth. The arms can move out that far, rotate all the way around, and using the hinge, you can butterfly it in. The arms can bend at the elbow, not a super deep bend, but it's alright. And there is a hinge at the wrist. There's a ball joint in the chest, which allows for a bit of side to side and rotation. The bendy wire is very free, so you can get a decent amount out of it. She can kick forward that far and back that far. There's a swivel at the thigh, bend goes that far at the knee, and there is just a hinge forward and back at the ankle. I think you can pivot it a bit, but it felt like I was going to break it, so I didn't really try that hard. And the legs do come off fairly easily, but that's intentional. The S.H.Figuarts has a ball joint at the head and neck, which allows for a really good range of motion, pretty standard for S.H.Figuarts, not a super deep bend down or up, but it's fine. The arms can move out that far, rotate all the way around, with the hinge butterfly inwards, similar to the S.H.Figuarts, but I think it's a little bit more elegant in design. There's an upper arm swivel, unlike the Aniplex. There's a bend at the elbow and hinge at the wrist. There's a ball joint in the upper chest, which allows for good side-to-side and rotation. The skirt is soft, so it gets out of the way pretty easily and has cuts in it, so it doesn't get in the way of anything. You can kick forward and back that far. There's a swivel at the thigh, bend at the knee, and pivot and hinge at the ankle. And because of how thin the feet are, you need the base, and there is a convenient hole in the back of the figure, so it's nice that they've got that. Both figures, in terms of posability, kind of okay. I don't really like playing around with them. They feel too fragile and just not that much fun range of motion, really. Like, both arms are pretty limited. The Aniplex one is super limited, and I wasn't too impressed. In terms of accessories, the S.H.Figuarts comes with a blindfolded neutral face, a blindfolded shouting face, a blindfold off neutral face, a blindfold off shouting face, and a blindfold off eyes closed face. And all of those are detailed very nicely, and it reads mostly as 2B. I still don't like the shape of the head, so it throws me off a bit. Aniplex is similar, so BUZZmod has a neutral face with the blindfold. It's meant to be a teeth-gritted face with the blindfold, but it looks like she's smiling really awkwardly, and I really do not like this face. It looks horrible. She's got a blindfold off neutral face, and a blindfold off teeth-gritted face, and I don't really know if the expression's meant to be actiony or not. I just don't get it. But yeah, that's what you get with these faces. I don't think that either figure does it particularly well. Both blindfolded faces look fine enough, like the neutral standard blindfold face, but just, yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't like the S.H.Figuarts head design, and I don't like the alternate faces of the Aniplex one, so it's a bit awkward. But between the two, you can get some pretty decent poses out of them. The S.H.Figuarts, I'm fairly more confident in posing around in action poses because I'm more familiar with what you can do with them. The S.H.Figuarts pod has got a bit of posability, so the arms can hinge around and extend, as well as the little tiny arms can bend around as well. I don't know if the head can pivot. I didn't really want to try it because it felt rather fragile. And you can just plug the pod onto the base just fine, and I think that worked quite well. I do think that the S.H.Figuarts is lacking in accessories because you basically just get the pod, faces, and sword. and that's about it. It would have been nice to have like a black box or another sword or a way to store the sword on her back, or like an energy effect coming out of pod or something like that. It'd be nice, but yeah, it is what it is. I do also dislike that the tassel on her sword is just fixed in place. It feels awkward depending on the pose that it's in, just doesn't look right. It's another thing that I like about the BUZZmod, but I don't think it's great. The pod for the BUZZmod has similar posability where the arms can just hinge forward once, but the S.H.Figuarts had 2 points of articulation, and the head on the pod can swivel. The sculpt is way different between the two. I like the detail on the S.H.Figuarts one more, but I do think that the Aniplex one seems more game accurate from what I remember, so it is what it is. And the BUZZmod can get into some decent poses, but it feels like it's somewhat compromised, like with the swappable leg part for the deep bend. Like that was just because the figure wasn't very posable, so they decided to chuck that in. But in terms of accessories, you do get more with the Aniplex just because of the swappable legs and alternate weapon. Again, having 2 weapons, it would have been nice to have a way to store it, some way to hold up the figures. Like the most you get is just a stand for pod, and you've got to provide your own base, and that kind of sucks. You can sort of fake her self-destruct mode by taking off the skirt. It's not really detailed as a part, but it is kind of nice as an option, I'd say. It's just so-so. And the butts on both of the figures are sculpted slightly differently and weirdly, and I don't know, neither of them look particularly good, especially when you pose the figures around. But yeah, look, they're both just okay. I don't think that they're particularly good in any way. If I had to choose one, it would probably be the S.H.Figuarts, but I dislike equal things between both of these figures, and I like equal things about both of them. So I'm not really sure where I stand on these. They're just okay. I do think that the BUZZmod is an absolute waste of money. Like, if you're looking at price point, the BUZZmod is pathetic. And the aftermarket on it is even more so. So if you wanted bang for your buck, it's S.H.Figuarts for sure. But if you wanted a better figure overall, I'd probably say neither of them. I used to have the Bring Arts. I don't remember how good that one was, but I did like that one was based on the game, not the anime. Look, if someone else takes a crack at it, maybe they'll be better, but I'm not really liking either of these figures. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I will see you all next time.